Today we're going to start talking about adverbs. Adverbs are words that modify verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs. So since we said that they modify those parts of speech, we'll be drawing an arrow from the adverb to the word that it modifies and writing ADV above it. Adverbs can answer one of four questions. They are where, when, how, and to what extent. It's important for you to memorize these to help you on the quiz and to help you identify these when you see them in a sentence. So I'm going to go through an example of where an adverb answers each of those questions now and label them. So label these with me. So if we have the forest fire started here. So we're going to go through and we have a noun indicator and fire is the subject. So the fire started, which is an action verb. So I'm going to label that here. And then before we get to the adverb, we have an adjective, which is forest, describes what type of fire. So I'm going to label that with ADJ. It's so important that you label what your arrows are now that we have two types of arrows. So the forest fire started here. Where did the forest fire start? It started here. So here is an adverb telling us where it started. So that's how you would label that. Let's try when. So we have the police arrived promptly. The police is the subject. They arrived. It's an action verb. When did they arrive? Well, they arrived promptly. So promptly would be our adverb here. Let's go on to how. The president spoke carefully. So president is our subject. What's the president doing? He is speaking, so that's an action verb. And how did he speak? Well, he spoke carefully, so that's an adverb back to spoke. Okay, hopefully you're getting the hang of this. So now we're going to move on to what extent. You should never run in the hall. So our subject is you, and we have a helping verb, action verb combo here, so should run. And then never is interrupting that, and we'll get to that in a second. And then we have in the hall as a prepositional phrase. So never answers the question to what extent. So to what extent should you run in the hallway? Never. So we would draw an adverb from never to run. You will find adverbs interrupting verb phrases every once in a while. So let's go through a few general things about adverbs. First of all, they can be found anywhere in the sentence. So it's not like the do and io, which have to come after the verb. They're not always right next to the word they modify, like sometimes adjectives are right in front of it. The arrows for adverbs can go backwards, it can go to the word right next to it, they can skip a word, so beware of that. You may also find an adverb between a helping and main verb, like you should never run in the hallway. So it interrupts it, so don't double underline it, think about it. It's probably an adverb if it's a negative word especially. A lot of adverbs end with the suffix ly, so that can kind of give you a hint. So if you see a word that ends in ly and it answers one of our questions, then it's probably an adverb. And then finally, the negative words like never, no, not are usually adverbs. So let's go through and practice a little bit more before I let you on your own. So quick reminder, the arrows can go from an adverb to a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. So when we have the ants crawled slowly, the adverb would be slowly, and it's modifying the verb crawled. So we would draw the arrow back to crawled. So how did the ants crawl? They crawled slowly. Then we have an example of an adverb modifying an adjective. So if we look at the very pretty girl was my date for the dance. So we have the adverb very describing how pretty the girl was or to what extent was her prettiness. So we would have very to pretty, and that would be our adverb. And then finally, here's an example of an adverb modifying another adverb. We have only very few people will tell a lie. So if we go here, our subject isn't until people. Few tells how many people, so that's an adjective. And then very goes to few as an adverb. So that's an adverb modifying an adjective. And then finally, we have an adverb modifying another adverb. So this is a chain of arrows here. So the adverb only modifies the adverb very. So those are examples of adverbs modifying all three parts of speech that are possible. So I want you to move on and start practicing the adverb sentence labeling in your packet now.